Good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Bell. Today is Tuesday, March 5th, 2024, and we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. As a reminder, our new call-in number is 971-254-3149, conference ID 866-914-607#. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute your phones. You can do this by pressing star 6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing star 6. It's very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. Before we get started, I'd like to say that today we're going to have something slightly unusual. The commissioners will consider a letter of concern to the Oregon Board of Forestry regarding the proposed habitat conservation plan, and we'll do that during commissioner updates. And just in case you're wondering, this is a noticed meeting of the Board of Commissioners, and we can take up business in this meeting. We just usually don't. So something a little out of order today, and we'll Commissioner Scar will explain more when we get to that part of the meeting. So let's jump right in with Eric Swanson from Advent South Tillamook. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Commissioner. We have 16 patients in the hospital today. We have 6 surgery cases scheduled, and our ambulance crews did 4 911 transports yesterday, 2 transfers, and no transports home. Across Oregon this morning, there's 69 patients boarding in emergency departments. That's 1 more than yesterday. And you'll notice that number is a lot lower than we've been reporting, which is a very good thing. Back on January 18th, we were up to 266 patients boarding. So getting down to 69 when I saw that this morning, that was very encouraging. There's still 399 patients who are discharge delays. That's they can't find a place to place the patient, but they're ready to be discharged from the hospital. That's 6 less than yesterday. So those numbers are moving in the right direction. We continue to work with dialysis providers to see if we can find a solution for the U.S. Renal Care that's no longer going to be providing services in our community. I had a conversation with one of the large providers yesterday, DaVita, and I will be having another conversation with another provider today to see if there's interest in leasing space from us. Again, it's not a service that we provide, but we definitely would love to have dialysis, outpatient dialysis here in our community. So I continue to work on that, and we'll keep you updated. It's difficult. It's a very difficult challenge. So I'll just, with that, unless you've got questions for me, I'll go back on mute.
Thank you, Eric. Well, I'd like to just say thanks on behalf of the entire community for continuing to work on the dialysis provider issue. I know it's difficult because those are for-profit businesses, and it sounds as though it's not a very profitable model. But we're super grateful that you continue to work on it and try to find solutions for local patients. It means a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, with that, we will move on to the Coastal Caucus. Do we have Senator Weber with us this morning?
Yes, ma'am, you do.
Hey, good. Good morning.
Good. It's the last week. I wanted to say that we've been working on the dialysis issue from this end too, and it is a very difficult issue. And there is a big bill that was up for discussion in the Senate Rules Committee concerning health care. It's Senate Bill 4130. No, it was in Senate Rules. It's House Bill 4130, excuse me. And it is dealing with addressing how big business is influencing medical practices. And I know that they have had hours of testimony, both from doctors and from the businesses that are providing the services to the doctors. But it is a very contentious issue. But every time we get to that part where we have that testimony, Tillamook and its dialysis situation is called out. I'm hoping that at some point in time we will have a positive ending to this that's going to make sure that people have the service that they need for their health. As people become more and more aware of it throughout the state, they are horrified that this is happening, and they're hoping that it will be a positive result in the end. But that is what happens a lot of times when big business gets involved in healthcare. Big business doesn't necessarily take into consideration small town America and its problems. So it's a very sad thing. On another note, Oregon dairy farmers are in Salem this week having their convention. We had committee last night, and so I wasn't able to go and participate in the activities there, but they're going to be there most of the week. They have a full schedule of work to do, and I really want to thank Clara Blazer, especially for her ambassadorship and all that she has done for Oregon dairy farmers in this past year, and wish Madison Grimes well also. They truly are the ambassadors for Tillamook and for the dairy industry, and so I want to thank them and wish them well. We've had several floor sessions. Yesterday, our blue pages, which is a listing of all the bills that we have to address, was 20 pages long, and we only got through 13 of them, and there's no heat on the floor. And so it's kind of funny to look out over us because everybody is in a coat and gloves and wrapped up in a blanket because it's so cold in there where we have to sit. Yesterday, we also honored Kenny Lyston, and he was one of my priority bills this time. He was a 20-year-old young man who was killed in Iraq by an IED, and there's going to be, he was honored on the floor of the Senate, and there's going to be a roadside sign erected near Camp Brylea to memorialize his life. That's where he started his military career. It was 20 years ago now, just about, that he passed away. But when they came to the committee to, give the reasons why he should be memorialized, it was very moving. The kind and wonderful young man he was, and the plans he had for the future that will never be realized. So that was a good thing that happened yesterday. And that 4002 passed out of the House, and it came to the Senate. And after several hours of debate, it also passed out of the Senate. And you will remember that 4002 is the bill that is going to hopefully turn around the damage that 110 has done to our state. And maybe we will see some resolution to the drug crisis. We now just have to hope for the governor signing it. But I think that it should, if she does, take effect on the 1st of September. This being the last week of the session, this is Money Week, and so we find out what we will be able to bring home to our district going forward. I'm still hoping for my Highway 30 bill, but I'm not seeing it moving it forward. It does have a fiscal, which means it's going to cost money, and ODOT feels that it will cost about $400,000 to do a study on Highway 30. So I'm still hopeful. I'll hold out till the very end, but at this point in time, I'm not seeing that it's moving forward. The Rules Committee in the Senate has also been working hard. Like I said yesterday, they were addressing that the bill concerning the role of business in healthcare, and that's 4130. I encourage you to look up these bills on OLIS, and especially look up the amendments, because on 4130 passed out of committee with what they call a dash, and it's a dash 15. That means it's the 15th amendment that was submitted to the bill. And so you can learn a lot from that. Also, as a result of that decision, there was something that was, if there are two people that vote no from the same party on a bill such as that, or an amendment such as that, something called a minority report can be filed, and it will basically say there's another amendment that could do a better job, and we need to reconsider it. And so hopefully, since there is a minority report called for on this bill, maybe there will be even more clarity going forward on how it will impact the public and how it will be put into use. Today's bill for discussion in the House is Senate Bill 1583, and that is the bill that prohibits discrimination when selecting textbooks and instructional materials and library books. And rules is where things get fixed. And so each time we have an issue, it will come forward in rules and have a lot of discussion. So know that the things that we're doing here are, because of the number of people that they impact, there is a lot of discussion and debate going on those things. And you know that the time change issue went to rules and came back and it passed, but it will only go into effect if California and Washington are also participants in this. And then there's the drop dead date on the bill of 2034. So we'll see what happens with whether or not we go back to standard time or whether we continue on the same track that we are on. I have not been a fan of the weather. As a result, I wasn't able to come home this weekend. I just didn't want to risk that road, and I think it was a good decision. And then I will say that our sine die, our final date, is the 10th. However, plans are afoot to maybe end it on Friday night instead, but we'll see, because it's going to mean, like I told you, we had 20 pages of bills that we had to address yesterday. We only got to 13. There will be more of them today. And so hopefully we can get through all of them and get to the budget bills and the Christmas tree bills and the money bills at the end and be able to end early, hopefully. So that's my report. Hope all's well, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to do this. And don't be shy. Go to OLIS, find out what's happening and how these bills are going to be impacting your lives. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator. You know, I just want to say we're so grateful to you for taking the time to do this, especially during the short session, because it's been invaluable to our community. It is invaluable to our community to hear from you in real time about what's going on there. So thank you.
And one more thing I really want to add is I really appreciate your going forward with a letter on the HCP. There is a lot of discussion on that in the building right now also. And the 7th is the date that we now think that it will be voted on. And I don't know if you looked at my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page. There is a list of all of the small districts and the school districts and the counties and the cities that are going to be affected by this 70-year plan that is going forward. So I look at it. It's I don't even think the list is complete, but it's going to be very impactful to our state. So we'll see what happens on the 7th if we are committed to 70 years of less timber harvest in our state forests. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. 70 years, I agree. 70 years is wild. Who would make a 70-year plan for anything? It's outrageous. And thanks for mentioning your Facebook page. I have not looked at it. I will. I encourage the listeners to do so also. I did, however, read your newsletter last night, and I found it very informative. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. I think it's really important that you know what's going on so that you can be involved. And if you have opinions about things that I'm doing, it never hurts to let me know.
Terrific. Do we have any questions for Senator Weber? If not, I will check and see if Representative Javdi is with us. Representative? Well, we can come back, and if he's able to join us later, we'll come back and say thank you so much again, Senator Weber, and we'll move on to the Tillamook County Community Health Centers.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Tillamook County. Ed Colson here with the Health Department.
Good morning.
Good morning. So our clinic will follow our county office's 2-hour delay, and we're going to open up at 10 a.m. We'll update the public and patients as soon as possible if that changes as the day goes on. And we thank you all for your patience and hope everyone stays safe and warm out there. March is National Nutrition Month, so please follow some great recipes and ideas for eating well on our Tillamook County Wellness Eat Well page. And lastly, March is also Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. The U.S. Preventative Services Task Force recommends that adults ages 45 through 75 be screened for colorectal cancer. To learn more about that and to schedule that, please contact your PCP or primary care provider, or you can call our office at 503-842-3900 to schedule an appointment. And that is our report from the Health Department this morning.
Thank you, Ed. And thanks for mentioning Colorectal Health Awareness Month. I was thinking recently in the last couple of days about a friend of mine, Leanne Neal, who lots of people who are listening probably knew and loved Leanne because she grew up here and she started the Tillamook County Pioneer. She worked at the Headlight Herald. I met her there, and she was a fabulously talented writer. And she's very much missed still, one of those people who left a hole in the community when she passed. And she passed of colorectal cancer young. She was young. And what I remember about it is that she was talking to me about having pain and discomfort in her belly and not knowing what it was, and thinking maybe she was using too much ibuprofen, or, she just didn't know what was wrong. And I, at least once, maybe more than once, encouraged her, hey, you should go to the doctor for that. And she said, yeah, I'm going to change my diet. And then by the time they found it, it was advanced. And so I continue to miss Leanne, and I think hers is one of many stories of people who ignored the symptoms early, and then when it was found out, it was late. And none of us want to think there's something wrong with us. So prevention is really key. Like just go get it checked out, and that prevention saves lives. So thank you. So with that, let's move on to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Do we have Gail this morning? If not, how about the Tillamook Family Counseling Center? How about the Sheriff's Office?
Good morning, Commissioner. Go ahead, Frank.
Good morning. I'm sorry. I just had a little difficulty getting on the unmuting there. This is Frank Hannon Williams, Tillamook Family Counseling Center, Behavioral Health Services for Tillamook County residents. We don't have too much of an update this morning, but I do want to mention our parenting series, which is the Active Parenting. And last night was the first session, the first of the 3 sessions. And if you are interested at all in participating in a process around supports related to parenting, primarily between ages 5 and 12, if you could give us a call, 503-842-8201. There will be the 3 weeks of the sessions, the 4th, the 11th, and the 18th. And last night was the initial one. And so I'm just mentioning that. And also, if you have concerns, questions about services and appointments, you can reach us at 503-842-8201. And I'll take any questions if anyone has any.
Does anyone have questions for Frank? If not, let's move on to the Sheriff's Office. Did I hear Under Sheriff Kelly?
Yes, good morning, Commissioner. I'm standing in for the sheriff. Luckily, I don't have a whole lot to report this morning. It's been pleasantly quiet. People are driving slow. My travels this morning, it looks like the sun is hitting the roads. It is melting, but still be cautious, especially in the areas that don't get sun till right at noon. So other than that, just drive safe. Make sure you have good stopping distance. The roads are still a little slick, especially around blind corners. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Any questions for the Undersheriff? If not, we can move on to Emergency Management. Randy Thorpe.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
That is the sunshine that we are seeing, which is a very, very welcome after our last few days of extremely icy mornings. Good news is looking at the weather forecasts, we should have that wonderful sunshine till at least Friday. And then, of course, we're going to get our rains moving back in on Friday. So anyway, we are going to have, widespread frost every morning, even though the sun is shining during the day. So again, if you're traveling before the sun's up and about, as Under Sheriff Kelly said, just slow down, be careful, give yourself plenty of stopping distance, and just drive defensively out there. So, and enjoy your sunshine for the next few days, and stay safe out there. And that's all I have for today.
Thank you, Randy. Does anybody have questions for Randy?
Commissioner Bell, this is Commissioner Scar. I don't have a question, but I wanted to just give a little bit of the thought behind county closure. We received an email yesterday with someone in the community who was just very upset that the county would consider closing offices or opening late due to just, a little bit of ice on the roads. And I had an opportunity to visit, not with this individual, but with someone else who echoed a similar thought. And I wanted to let people know that we don't make that decision lightly, that we look very carefully at the roads. We talk with our public works director, who is driving the roads in the morning very early. We talk with our emergency manager, and we have worked with our sheriff's department and other first responders over the long haul to say, when is it really dangerous for people out there? And how do we help keep the fewest people on the roads so that our sheriff's department and other first responders are not overwhelmed, trying to help people in conditions that even our first responders struggle to get around in. So, when we close county offices, that does two things. One, it helps our own staff be safe, which is important to us. It also discourages others from being on the road because they cannot come and receive services at a county office at that time. And that's really our goal, is to help everyone stay safe out there, to help our first responders have a caseload or a response load that they can manage and generally keep everyone safe. So I know that from the outside looking in, you might come out of your own front door and think there's no problem here, but we are looking at the entire county. We are looking at the response, the capability we have to respond to accidents and emergencies, and we're making that decision based on data from all over the county and roads everywhere. So I just wanted to share that. And I don't know if you have anything, other commissioners, that you'd like to share around that, but it seems to be a bit of a question why we shut down. And I hope that knowing that it's a broader picture that we're looking at will help people understand. So thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate you bringing it up. The three of us all received the same email that you're referring to, and I'm always glad when people share their thoughts with us, and I appreciate your response. I responded similarly, and I mentioned in my response that in other places where they have regular snow and ice events, I'm sure they have a different budget. They have a different system of preparation. You know, in Alaska, where there's ice all the time, I'm sure that the roads budget looks different. And so I was thinking about that. I was thinking, well, I will ask Chris Lady when he has a spare moment, which is almost never. Chris is the Director of Public Works, because he came from Montana. I'll ask him, what would it actually cost for county roads department like ours in a temperate climate to be prepared for ice events in the way that places that have more harsh winters are prepared? Because what I suspect is that we can't afford it. That kind of equipment, those kind of supplies are expensive, and the cost versus benefit ratio wouldn't play out as, you know, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure, because the expense to buy that equipment and buy those supplies to be totally prepared wouldn't balance out with how infrequently it happens here. But anyway, just as an exercise, I'll ask Chris Lady what he thinks it would cost us to be more prepared for ice events. And you know, those are the kinds of things, like, in addition to what you're saying, the stress on first responders, and of course we want everyone to be safe. Also, we don't have the equipment and supplies, and we can't afford them. And if we were to buy them, where would that money come from in our budget? It would probably come from paving. So that's those are my thoughts on that subject. Hey, do we have Bill Jablonski from ODOT with us this morning?
Yes, good morning. I'm here today.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner Bell, and thanks so much for the opportunity to call in every month. I really look forward to this. Bill Jablonski with the Oregon Department of Transportation. I'm the area manager here in Astoria. And I don't need to let the folks on this call know that we still are very much in winter season. We were definitely hit the end of last week and through the weekend with a pretty powerful storm that pretty much impacted the whole district from Columbia County, Tillamook, even Columbia County, and our neighbors in Western Washington County as well too. Just a reminder to folks, we had a number of spin outs and folks really not being prepared either with chains and or traction devices on their vehicles that would really help with our first responders and our law enforcement folks who have to respond to those call outs. If you can kind of remember to be prepared during this time of year, things can sneak up on you with our inclement weather that we often can have. A couple of things I want to share with you from our district manager side is a couple culvert replacements coming up later this spring and early summer on 101 in Rockaway, and also on Oregon 202 at Alder Creek, which is at mile point 8.5, which we know to be kind of a flood area when we get the heavy downpours of rain. Pothole repairing is going on when we can. After we're done with the winter season, we'll be, of course, diligent about getting at those potholes. Right now during the winter season, we do run crews 24/7 with all of our districts here in area District 1. So we're still in full swing winter operations and trying to get to all places. We can't be everywhere at once, especially when the snow happens all at one time, but we have many, many miles to cover. But we also thank you for your patience on allowing us to do our work and being cognizant of that. We did have a slide on Oregon 53 right at the Tillamook-Clatsop County line. That's an ongoing issue. We're continuing to monitor that and clear the road debris and make that area safe for travelers who take Oregon 53. Just an update, the continuing design of our projects in Oregon 6, which is very important to both Washington County and Tillamook County as well. a number of projects on. We have paving projects. We have large roadside barrier projects, which we're replacing the barrier all the way through the route on Oregon 6 between Washington County and Tillamook. That's still ongoing with the construction season of next year in 2025. We're also working for looking at failed culverts, Oregon 6 at Zigzag Creek at Mile Point 10 on Oregon 6. That's another location that we're working on. Also, Oregon 6 at Wilson River Loop Road. That is one that's a top priority for me, for the area that we've heard from Tillamook County that that's a priority. We're certainly working on the design for that and trying to make those safety improvements there at that northeast corner there of the intersection. The last thing I'll report out is that we continue to help and support Chris Lady and the Tillamook County Public Works folks on Sand Lake Road. They had the slide event there that happened from the December 2023 event. Working with our federal highway partners in the county on getting that repair underway and designed. So appreciate your patience on that as well too. With that, that's all I have for my update this month.
Thank you so much, Bill. We appreciate it. Do we have any questions for Bill Jablonski? Well, thank you for all the work you're doing, and in particular for the assistance on the Sand Lake Road slide repair project, which we heard recently might even, the fix, the one-lane fix, might even open sooner than anticipated, which would be wonderful for Tillamook County residents. So thanks for all your help.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, commissioners, why don't we turn the floor over to Commissioner Scar to talk about a letter of concern to the Oregon Board of Forestry regarding the proposed habitat conservation plan.
Thank you, Chair Bell. I have a few documents to reference, and pardon me if it takes a little time flipping among them. I'm at home on my small screen because my doors were frozen shut this morning, and so I couldn't get into the office where I had hoped to do this with two screens. So we have been talking about the Habitat Conservation Plan for a long time. This is not a new conversation. It's not a new topic, but what's new about it is that the state forester is making a recommendation to the Board of Forestry, and that is going to happen Thursday morning at the Board of Forestry. So as a member of the Forest Trust Land Council Advisory Committee, we have the opportunity to be part of testimony, which will be the final testimony to the Board of Forestry before they make their decision relating to the Habitat Conservation Plan. So there's two different methods of testimony that we are providing. One of them is that each of the counties that are affected have the opportunity to provide a letter and put it into the Board of Forestry's materials, the packet they will receive for the meeting. And the second thing that we will also be doing is we will have a 15-minute window where we will be providing oral testimony. So we're doing our best to make sure that our voices are heard one more time with the most salient points so that the Board of Forestry, as they make their decision, knows the impacts to our communities. So I'll start just by sharing that the state forester, if you have not read his recommendation, I'll just give you the very high point of it, which is to take actions necessary to finalize the Western Oregon State Forest Habitat Conservation Plan as drafted and work with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and NOAA Fisheries to complete the HCP and obtain the associated incidental take permits. So we had all hoped that there would be some adjustments in that habitat conservation plan, but what the state forester is recommending is simply to move it forward as is. So we will be providing, as I said, both the written testimony and then I will be a part of a group providing oral testimony. But what we want to talk about first today is the written testimony, because this would be a letter that would come from all three commissioners, which means that we need to approve it in a public meeting in order to have the signatures provided of all three commissioners. So what I would like to do, Commissioner, if it makes sense, is simply to read this letter as it's currently drafted and as it would be approved to go to the Board of Forestry.
Please do. I was hoping you would.
Yes, thank you. So this letter is addressed to Jim Kelly, the chair of the Oregon Board of Forestry. The subject, letter of concern regarding the proposed habitat conservation plan. Chair Kelly and members of the Oregon Board of Forestry. Tillamook County is a trust land county that deeded 296,946 acres of our forests, nearly 40% of the entire state forest that exists today, to the state in a partnership for long-term management. We're very concerned with both the proposed draft habitat conservation plan as well as the state forester's recommendation. Both are before your board on Thursday, March 7th. Local governments and communities like ours have very low property tax rates and have been dependent upon the timber harvest revenues to fund vital county programs and services, as well as schools and special district operations. These harvests and resulting local timber products manufacturing also provide living wage, fully benefited jobs to support a vibrant economy. The funds collected by local governments from timber harvests, 63.75% of the revenue generated, are used to fund everyday aspects of our lives, such as schools and fire districts. If the board chooses to move forward with the recommendation as presented in Tillamook County, we will likely have to reduce services across general fund departments. Specific services that will be most impactful to our constituents and visitors include sheriff's deputies who currently patrol the roads and respond to emergency situations such as vehicle accidents and break-ins. Our planning department that provides building permits to allow additional development and tax growth, and the county clerk's department that's responsible for safe and secure elections. Originally, ODF projected the harvest would be 250 million board feet. The federal services then projected 225 million board feet. ODF then revised the projected harvest volume down closer to 185 million board feet. The most recent modeling numbers are showing anywhere from 162 to 181 million board feet. Trust Land County's 10-year annual harvest is 250 million board feet. In terms of acres available for harvest, Tillamook County will realize a loss of 30% of our harvestable land. We will go from having approximately 95,000 acres constrained by natural geography and conservation to a total of 184,000 acres constrained. This leaves us with only 38% of our lands available for harvest to support our communities, schools, and special districts. Make no mistake that this is not enough to support the needs of the people of Tillamook County. We believe in and support using good science to ensure the survival of ESA-listed species. We simply believe that this plan goes too far in setting aside land for owls and other species where changing science questions if just setting aside more land is equal to species survival. Let's slow down and confirm that this is the right HCP. We strongly urge the Board of Forestry to consider modifications to this HCP and delay adoption of this habitat conservation plan until all parties can find common ground. So we really do feel that at this point, there have been so many changes since the HCP was originally proposed that it needs more conversation. The loss of projected revenue, not only to the county schools and special districts, but to the department itself, is extremely consequential and a huge change from the modeling that started this process. During the course of this, the U.S. I think the Forest Service has come forward with a study that says spotted owls are under a great amount of danger from the barred owl, not from habitat loss. So that's another huge change that would impact how much habitat needs to be set aside and really what is the best way to help those owls survive. So we feel that these really are consequential changes that should be integrated into the habitat conservation plan prior to its adoption for a 70-year period. So this letter will go in front of the Board of Forestry, assuming that my fellow commissioners agree, and then again there will be some oral testimony as well. So Commissioner Bell, if you want to move us into a conversation, that would be great.
Thank you. Commissioner Olson, would you like to talk about this?
Well, thank you and good morning, Commissioner. Yes, I would. I've read that letter in some detail, and by the way, that's a second draft. This takes a while to get everything in that we needed to. So I'll just add a couple of things, and I've been talking about this to anyone who would listen, including our Chamber of Commerce here in South Tillamook County today. I'm going to discuss this along with a few other things, but I think the letter covers it quite well, although I'll just add a couple of things, a little more detail. In Tillamook County, we have 21 special districts, and that includes fire districts, school districts, the North County Rec District, a lot of little water and sewer districts. Of those 21, 16 receive money from harvest in the Tillamook State Forest. And so in some cases, it's a rather modest amount of a few $1,000s. In other cases, it's well into six figures. That would be in jeopardy. And as the letter points out that Commissioner Scar read, Tillamook County has just under 300,000 acres in the county. There's a bit more in Clatsop County and Washington County, but we have almost 300,000 acres. We were working with considerably less than that over the past number of years. And then if this is adopted as recommended by Forester Nakamoto, it would take it down to only 38%, as the letter states. So think about that. Roughly 2/3 of the state forest, would be off limits. And not only would it be off limits for some period of time, the recommendation is 70 years. Now that's the longest piece of public policy I've ever heard of, which is not to say it couldn't be done and couldn't be revised, but that's an awfully long horizon. Typically, these sorts of things are 10 years or 15 or maybe 20 with periodic reviews, and I've not read or heard anything that calls for a periodic review. So I wonder about the good policy implications of that. So I could go on and on and on, but I think the letter adequately covers our position in Tillamook County. And keep in mind that it's not only jobs and real money, it's real people. And I think that's important. And there is a balance. I don't think any of us wants dirty water and unsafe drinking water and fish habitats that don't work. I think we all favor that. But at some point, as with nearly all public policy, there's a middle ground. And I believe that taking 2/3 of the forest out of production is not a middle ground, and they need to be called on it. Now, exactly where this will go, I'm not sure, and Commissioner Scar will be there in person representing the county. The actual conversation on this occurs at 9 o'clock on Thursday morning, and you can find a link on the Oregon Board of Forestry webpage, and you could listen to the actual discussion. I will tell you, I talked at length with some representatives of Hampton. The Board of Forestry has 7 members, all appointed by the governor. It has 6 members, sitting members, and then a chair. And the way it's divided now, according to sources, is 3 of them very strongly support this plan. The other 3 maybe have a little more open mind, shall we say, where they're willing to hear conversation and entertain a discussion. And we don't know where the chair is. So it's truly up in the air if this can be modified or goes forward. And I believe, as Commissioner Scar mentioned, the state forester has recommended adoption of this plan. So I could go on and on and on, but I think we don't have the time. And second of all, there are other things to talk about as well. But this is a big deal for Tillamook County. This involves our natural resources, our economy, many of our special districts, including schools and fire districts. It involves the county itself. And Oregon has been a natural resource state for as long as anyone can remember, and it probably still will be in some respects. But where we are today is a significant crossroads, and I'm hoping that the state will at least entertain a continuance of this subject and talk about a more moderate approach rather than taking 2/3 of the state forest out of production. So I'll stop there, Commissioner. Thank you. And we can vote on this, and I will favor this letter going forward that Commissioner Scar will carry to Salem. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. As do I support the letter. We've talked about this often enough for us to know that we are unanimous in our concern about the proposed habitat conservation plan, the impacts to Tillamook County, and to the other forest trust counties. And I really appreciate what you just said, Commissioner Olson, about balance, because you're absolutely right. We all do care about clean water. We all do care about recreation and habitat and the balance of what an active, working, productive forest brings to our community. So I wish that habitat conservation plan was also balanced, and I don't feel like it is, and so I fully support the letter. So Commissioner Scar, to you for a motion.
Thank you. Chair Bell, I would move approval of the Tillamook County letter to the Board of Forestry as presented this morning.
And I will second that motion. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Scar, for bringing this forward and
Thank
for
you.
representing us in person in Salem on Wednesday. Okay, do we have more in terms of commissioner updates? Commissioner Scar, do you have anything else?
Yeah, just very quickly, I know we've taken a lot of time just to remind people that the Housing Commission will meet this week, Thursday morning at 9 a.m. You can join us at the Port of Tillamook Bay, or you can join us online. Just a great opportunity to hear what's happening. I'm sure we will spend a little bit of time discussing House Bill 1537, which was the governor's housing bill that has moved, I believe, out of both the House and Senate, is headed to her desk with every expectation that it will be signed into law. That one puts, I believe, as it's the current one is like 370 million into programs to support the creation of additional middle housing as well as affordable. So we're really excited about the tools for middle housing. We know that our community is really looking toward workforce housing and how can we help build that? And there are a number of tools in there we hope to take advantage of. So we'll be, I'm sure, having some conversation about that. So I invite people to join us for that. And then with that, I will end because I have taken a ton of time with the forestry work. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I was excited to see that the governor's bill passed and will be eager to hear more about what it means for us, particularly if the cities have a new opportunity to expand their urban growth boundaries for housing. I think that's really exciting. Commissioner Olson.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, I have a couple or three other things that I'll just quickly mention. Sand Lake Road was mentioned, and there's some good news there. It looks now with some certainty that it will be open as early as sometime next week. The construction has been on schedule, notwithstanding the horrible, ugly weather we've had here in recent weeks. So that's good news for South County and the people in Tierra del Mar, especially who need to make about a 45-minute trip just to get their mail or some groceries in Pacific City. So that's very promising and looks like it's almost a done deal. Second thing, the recreational immunity bill, I want to do a quick update on that. That's the one that would relieve landowners of liability if someone has an accident when crossing that organization's property, like cities, counties, or even private parties. There is a temporary fix in place that would go for about 18 months so that the longer session of the legislature could take it up next year. That has moved from the Senate Judiciary over to the House Committee on Judiciary, and I believe it's out of the House now with a due pass recommendation to go to the full Senate and House and then on to the governor. So that's looking positive that we will have a fix on that out of this particular legislative session. So that's a good thing. I attended the Nescowan Citizens Advisory Committee last weekend and online, but for a while I thought I had tuned into a rerun of the Nuremberg trials or something like that. But as it turned out, It was a group of very engaged, educated citizens talking about the structure of their advisory committee. And I was pleased to see such heavily, so many interested parties. They simply step up in that community and say, the county's asked us to do this, they're developing new bylaws. And boy, if there's ever a grassroots effort, it's happening right there in our community of Neskowin in South County. A couple of other quick items. I just wanted to point out that our two really, really good basketball teams both didn't make it clear through the state tournaments, but they did a good showing. Both the Neocani boys team went to state. They lost a couple of games, but they got to the state playoffs, and that's an achievement. Same thing for the girls from Nestucca High School. They also ended up losing, didn't win the tournament, but they made a good showing and had a wonderful, wonderful season. So congratulations to those two groups. Couple of other things quickly. I wanted to mention the Christmas tree bill that Senator Weber mentioned. In case people don't know what that is, our legislature and perhaps other legislators elsewhere in other states, towards the end of a session, they have a bill that has made it through the session, and it could be about most anything, and they begin to add on a whole lot of appropriations or other favoritism, I guess is as good a word as any, that for various issues, various constituencies, various districts. And some people would say, well, that's a good way to close out, get a few things done. Other people would say, well, they're trying to placate people, make everyone happy, and it's not a very good use of public funds, nor is it in line with the public policy where you generally debate the issues. But it is what it is, and that's a Christmas tree bill, something for everybody, just to keep that in the back of your mind. And then finally, I'll close by saying I'll be at the Pacific City Nestucca Valley Chamber today talking about the Habitat Conservation Plan and a few other things, including the closure of the parking lot at Cape Kiwanda. The county is closing that until early July because of a number of things that have changed. Some errors were made along the way at no cost to the county, I should say. But when you have a large, complex project, it's not unusual to have errors made or changes that need to be made or have to be made. And so that's what's happened. So they're going to be working 6 days a week throughout the entire spring season on the entire parking lot, and it will be closed to the public. Now, you can still get to the beach. The dories can launch, and all of that continues without interruption. But we'll talk more about it at the chamber, but just so people know, if you intend on parking at Cape Kiwanda, you won't be able to do that. But they'll be parking elsewhere, and I think some signage and directions and people helping you get from here to there. And there'll be no charge for any of the parking in Pacific City during this closure. So with that, Madam Chair, thank you very much, and I'll sign off for now.
Thank you, Doug. The only thing I want to mention here today is that Garibaldi has been named a Coast Guard city. It's a designation, a special designation, and an honor for the city of Garibaldi. And I'm going to cut my comments short this morning because I'm hoping to go to their Coast Guard city designation ceremony at 10 a.m. at the Old Mill Marina. And I want to build in plenty of time for driving there in the ice. So I will conclude my comments right now and say congratulations to the city of Garibaldi and jump over to the cities and start with Manzanita. Do we have Mayor Stock this morning? Or anyone from Manzanita? How about Nehalem? Or Wheeler? Rockaway Beach?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Mayor. We can.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Good to be back. Good to be here. Really, really appreciate these meetings. Just a couple of updates for Rockaway Beach. The Rockaway Beach Fire and Rescue Department hosted a graduation ceremony for our class of 12 newly minted CERT members last Tuesday. It's a big uptick for our emergency preparedness in our city, and I want to give a big shout out to Carolyn Walters for spearheading recruitment, Captain Jeff Grace for leading and the training and CERT program, and Joe Cooper and the Emergency Volunteer Corps of Nehalem Bay for their support of our CERT program. As mayor, I'm very, very excited about this next step for our city. Second, last Wednesday, Rockaway Beach Public Works put the new Scenic View water pumping station into service with the work on the automatic standby generator complete. No doubt the added water pressure is appreciated by residents in the area. And then last, Rockaway Beach applied for federal funding through the STAG program. If awarded, this congressionally directed funding will go towards water and sewer system upgrades and expansion north of Lake Lytle in the largely undeveloped area between the lake and the school grounds to the north. At an estimated cost of $6 million, this new infrastructure will reduce financial burden to development in the area and enable further increases to our housing stock. With that, I'll turn it back to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor, and welcome back.
Thank you.
Do we have Mayor Findlay from the city of Garibaldi? How about Bay City?
This morning, can you?
Good morning, yes.
I am here this morning. Can you hear me, Commissioner?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. This is Leanne Welch, Mayor of Bay City. So our city council meeting is a week from today, Tuesday, March 12th at 6 p.m. Everybody is welcome. We also have our new sewer lift station in operation that was funded in part by the American Rescue Plan, ARPA. And in addition to that, we opened up a new RV dump station for $10. It's located at Highway 101 and Hayes Oyster. So as you're traveling up and down the coast and you need to use a dump station, that'd be great. Our city manager, David McCall, and I attended an open house for a new Habitat for Humanity house on Sunday. So we want to welcome our new family to Bay City, and Habitat did a fabulous job on this house. I want to thank what they do for our community. And we're still looking for a couple of budget committee members for the budget. So if you're interested in getting involved on the city of Bay City's budget, please call City Hall. And that's my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. How about Nathan George from the city of Tillamook?
Commissioner Bell, this is Catherine. And
yes.
Sorry.
Oh, Nathan, could you pause for a moment? Mayor Stock, is that you?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
sorry,
you.
Nathan. Yes, I apologize. I'm having some star 6 technical difficulty, but I am here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and I would love to give an update for Manzanita. And I want to thank everyone, particularly the commissioners, who just gave us a really good update on the conservation planning and what's going on with that. That was very helpful, I'm sure, for those of us who've not been involved with that work for as long as the 3 of you have, and certainly the county has. So I appreciated that very much. So thank you. We do have a couple of meetings coming up this week, but first I'd like to give a brief update on the town hall we had last week, which I mentioned in the call. We did a Zoom virtual town hall, and we had 100 people attend. The topic was to discuss where we are with our city hall planning and to allow for question and answer with the community. So we were very pleased to get the turnout that we did. The recording of that for anyone, particularly in the Manzanita area, who might be interested in listening and couldn't make it, is on our city's website under the City Hall project. So you can find that there, as of course you can any of our public meetings. So that was great. This week we've got 2 significant meetings. One is the council meeting, which will be at Wednesday starting at 6 p.m. We meet at the Pine Grove in Manzanita due to the fact that we do not have a working city hall that will allow for a group of citizens to meet. So we're there, as we have been for a while now. We're going to have dune grading and dark sky ordinances on our agenda for tonight, and we're also going to be getting another big update on our City Hall project, as we have received the final bids for the contracts that have been involved, a significant number of which are going to local contractors, which we are extremely pleased about. We also have a planning commission meeting this Monday, this coming up Monday at 4. We do have an application for a zone change and annexation on 10 acres in our urban growth boundary that is proposed for affordable and workforce housing. This work has been going on for quite a while with a lot of support from the county, of course, and we thank the county for that. The application for that is on our city's website under the Planning Commission. You can look for the completed applications there. It'll give you background, and our city staff will be publishing their report and recommendations on that shortly, so that will be there. We also are very happy to say that the county recently awarded funding through its Housing Commission to 2 different developers who are proposing housing projects on this parcel of land in our urban growth boundary that I mentioned earlier. They are not formally approved yet, but they're still going through due diligence and development planning. We have been working with one of those developers in our Planning Commission, and that work continues, but we're very hopeful that we will have some significant progress to report on that in the coming months. And finally, for anyone on the call or listening who might be interested in becoming an operations manager for Public Works in Manzanita, that position is open. We've got a great team who do great work up here in the city, and the folks are very proud of those folks. So if you'd be interested in joining that team or learning more about it, please contact our Public Works Director. And that's it from Manzanita, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate your report, and sorry you were having trouble with star 6. Let's go over to Nathan George now in the city of Tillamook.
Good morning, Commissioner. You hear me okay?
Good morning, we can.
Good morning. I never passed the opportunity to have more time to prepare, so thank you. I enjoy being at the end of the call, so I get lots of time. The city is on a 2-hour delay this morning and plans to open at 9:30 a.m. This delay is due to inclement weather and ice for both the safety of our residents and our employees. I echo the commissioners. We were also closed yesterday for those same reasons. And if I may, I'll just share really briefly, even though I'm from the Pacific Northwest and I returned a few years ago, for those many decades in between, I've lived in Nebraska, spent 11 years in Indiana. I lived in Pennsylvania, up in the middle where it's a lot of snow. Virginia actually had quite a bit of snow, et cetera, et cetera. And I can tell you there's some significant difference between the Northwest snow and from other areas. One difference is we don't use de-icer, we don't use salt for de-icing, which is a significant tool if you're able to use it. However, we also have an issue in the Northwest where you have a lot of humidity. When it actually snows or ices, it gets a significant amount of ice, which is much more dangerous to drive on. When you're in the Midwest and you're driving on snow, it's much easier because it's not slick underneath. It's a significant difference. So I just wanted to add those perspectives. In the police department, our executive assistant, Lacey Larson, Lieutenant Troxel, attended a county-wide communication network meeting. This was a well-attended meeting with excellent representation from North to South County. This meeting is a great time to collaborate with our community members to ensure that we are prepared to communicate effectively in an event of emergency or natural disaster. We would like to thank the Tillamook People's Utility District for hosting this meeting. Lieutenant Troxel attended a meeting at the hospital representing law enforcement regarding response to the hospital in an emergency situation. There was a great discussion between all participants. These relationships are priceless and appreciated greatly. This is some of the substance that helps build our community, are working together. Sergeant Halls and Sergeant Harrell attended background investigation training. This was an excellent opportunity to have both sergeants attend together, ensuring that we're doing all we can when conducting a background investigation with those who apply for any position within the police department. City Manager George, myself, our Assistant City Manager Jamie Christensen, and Lieutenant Troxel attended the City County Insurance Services annual conference and meeting last week. This was an excellent opportunity for professional development and furthering education in their specific fields. This is also a very informational conference which provided excellent information on how to better protect our city from the various risks and hazards. There are so many laws and rules, and it's really important that we all stay abreast or stay on top of those laws and rules to make sure we're doing the best in everything we do, from hiring to everything in between, our employees and our resources and assets. The school resource officer Olson attended a planning meeting for the Every 15 Minutes program that will be occurring this spring at the Tillamook High School. We would like to thank SRO Officer Olson for representing us well and working so hard to keep our youth safe day in and day out. Lieutenant Troxel and City Manager George have been working on ensuring that we are on track to obtain a state accreditation for the police department. We're happy to report we are on right where we should be and moving through this forward in this process in the appropriate time necessary. For your information, we also learned at the CIS conference last week that the risk management team that oversees law enforcement for CIS looks fairly highly upon departments that are credentialed as it shows they are meeting or exceeding good standards and practices. They basically said if we have accredited departments, they are not as concerned and they'll focus more on the non-accredited because they know accreditation is such high standards that we're meeting those or exceeding those. Lieutenant Troxel was on the Tillamook Today show, sharing all the good work the Tillamook Police Department is doing. Tillamook Today is another avenue for connecting with our community, and we want to thank Lisa Griner, the host of the show, and the KTIL for their continued support of the police department. In the Public Works Department, as the temperatures drop, our dedicated team is actively engaged in de-icing the roads to ensure the safety of motorists and pedestrians. In light of the chilly conditions, we urge everyone to extend a helping hand to elderly family members, neighbors, or friends checking on their well-being during this cold spell. The cold weather poses a higher risk for the elderly as they may be more susceptible to reduction in body temperature. Hypothermia, a serious condition resulting from excessively low body temperature, can occur not only outdoors but also indoors when exposed to low temperatures. We encourage everyone to be vigilant and to take preventive measures to stay warm both inside and outside. Your care and consideration can make a significant difference to the well-being of our community members, especially those who may be vulnerable to the cold. And we want to thank you for your cooperation in fostering a community that looks out for one another during challenging weather conditions, so please stay warm and safe. Just a reminder, which I will continue for the next several months, during the 1970s, residents have been responsible for maintaining their private sewer lateral lines and to fix them when problems occur. Fortunately for our communities, Tillamook City Council has recently changed the compliance timeline from what it was originally 60 days to now 360 days, which is 1 year, with possible from 2 months to 1 year, with possible extensions available for qualifying residents up to an additional 6 months after that 1 year. Currently, the city has severe rainwater issues coming to the city's treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant. 50 to 70% of this issue is on the private side of the city system. Ordinance violation notices are slowly going out to residents who have failed sewer laterals. The city will be working on this a little bit of time. And again, our concern is we're not out there to try to cite people. What we're trying to do is get people to comply so that we have a better and robust system so that we can save costs for everyone. As I've reported before, the city spends an extra $1.3 to $4 million a year just treating rainwater, which we shouldn't be treating, and the residents should not be paying for. Additionally, the city would like to encourage and remind citizens of the Service Not Line Warranties of America warranty available through HomeServe. This very low-cost insurance can help provide financial assistance when fixing sewer laterals and even your water line going to your home. More information about this policy is available at City Hall or online at their website, which is slwfa.com. Also, we are getting ready to launch. We were going to launch a new website yesterday, and due to weather, it didn't work. But we will have that up soon. And also, we will have a resource spot on our website that will give everyone information on where they can go to get different types of loans or information on how to pursue ways to help fix their lateral lines. One of those includes the USDA rural, I think what it stands for, but United States Rural Development Department, which offers low cost loans to residents in rural counties or rural areas where rural counties and cities to be able to have fix those sewer laterals. So we'll have that information on our website soon. Also, a reminder, please call our city main line and follow the prompts of the Public Works Department or email publicworks@tillamookor.gov. So just publicworks@tillamookor.gov with questions or concerns to report regarding anything to do with Public Works. We have several positions available at the City of Tillamook, including the Public Works technicians and a part-time urban renewal agency administrator. Please visit our website or stop by City Hall for an application. A reminder, if you see something, say something by calling 911 for emergencies and dispatch for non-emergencies. And as I mentioned, due to weather yesterday, the City Hall was closed, and the City Council work session, which was scheduled for Monday, March 4th at 6 p.m., has been moved to tonight, Tuesday, March 5th, also at 6 p.m. The City Council will be holding this work session in place at the regular meeting to discuss sewer laterals. Some members of the City Council have inquired about the city taking over the private line between the sewer point of connection and the property line. City staff will be providing information so the council can make an informed decision if they so choose. The next regular council meeting will be held on Monday, March 18th at 7 p.m. We encourage everyone interested in local government to attend virtually or in person. And also just a reminder, on Saturday, April 13th at 9 a.m., City Council will hold a council meeting and goal-setting work session, which will be held at Tillamook main location of the Tillamook County Library. That's all I have, Commissioner. Thank you so much.
Well, Commissioner Bell, this is Commissioner Olson. Can I add one thing to my earlier remarks?
Please do.
I misspoke when I said the parking would be free across Pacific City, and Rachel corrected me, as she does from time to time. It actually is free at Cape Kiwanda, where the construction is underway. If there is scheduled parking or posted parking fees elsewhere, those remain in effect. So just make that clear and not set up some expectations that are not accurate. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate it. Thanks, Nathan, for your report. Do we have anything else for the good of the order? If not, I want to thank everyone for participating. Thanks to everyone for listening, and thank you, KTIL, for broadcasting. This meeting is adjourned at 9:11 a.m.